Have you ever found yourself waking up at 3 a.m., lying in the quiet darkness, staring at the ceiling, and wondering why you're suddenly wide awake with no clear reason? Maybe it's not the first time. Maybe it happens more often now than it used to. And perhaps you've begun to ask yourself, is this just what aging does to sleep? Is something wrong with my body or my mind? For so many older adults, this early morning wakefulness becomes a silent and frustrating pattern, one that makes you feel out of sync with your own body, especially when you're not ready to start the day. What might surprise you is that waking up at this hour is more common than you might think, and it's not simply because you're getting older. Rather, there are deep and powerful reasons rooted in biology, psychology, and lifestyle that contribute to this recurring experience. By exploring them, you can better understand your body and uncover ways to adjust that promote better rest, peace of mind, and overall well-being. The real magic lies in awareness, not just knowing that something is happening, but truly understanding why it's happening. That knowledge can be empowering. It can dissolve guilt, remove fear, and invite self-compassion. When you begin to see your body not as broken but as wise, you create space to treat yourself with care, to adjust your environment and your routines to match your current needs, rather than resisting what naturally changes with time. So let's walk through 5 of the most powerful and overlooked reasons why many older adults find themselves waking up at or around 3 a.m., not as a list of problems to fix, but as insights that can help illuminate this chapter of your life. One of the first and most scientifically recognized reasons for waking up in the early hours of the morning is a decline in melatonin production. Melatonin is the hormone responsible for regulating the sleep-wake cycle, your internal clock, so to speak. When you were younger, your body likely produced melatonin in higher and more consistent quantities, allowing for longer and deeper periods of sleep. But as you age, your body naturally starts producing less of it, which means the chemical support that once kept you in a restful sleep state through the night begins to weaken. This doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means your chemistry is shifting, and those shifts bring real consequences. It becomes harder to stay asleep in the latter part of the night when melatonin levels have already tapered off significantly. You might find that you fall asleep just fine after your evening routine, but like clockwork, you're wide awake around 3 a.m., not due to a sound or a dream, but due to a subtle withdrawal of that sleep-promoting hormone. Light sensitivity, which increases with age, can further suppress melatonin production. Even the smallest amount of light, from a digital alarm clock, a night light in the hallway, or street lights seeping through thin curtains, can signal to your brain that it's time to wake up. This effect is often overlooked, but can make the difference between staying asleep and finding yourself fully alert at 3 a.m. When Harold, a 72-year-old retired engineer, began waking up in the early morning without reason, he initially worried something was wrong. But after learning about melatonin decline, he adjusted his nightly habits. He dimmed his bedroom lights 2 hours before bed, avoided screens after dinner, and added an evening walk to help reinforce his circadian rhythm. These small changes helped his brain receive clearer signals about when it was time to wind down and when it was still night. Though he still wakes up occasionally, Harold no longer blames himself and instead works with his body rather than against it. Another contributing factor is a phenomenon known as advanced sleep phase. This biological shift causes your body's internal clock to move forward in time, making you feel sleepy earlier in the evening and naturally leading you to wake up earlier in the morning. While younger individuals might not feel tired until midnight or later, older adults often begin winding down around 8 o'clock or 9 p.m., sometimes without realizing it. This shift in rhythm is entirely natural and not a sign of sleep disturbance. The problem arises when this advanced rhythm clashes with your desired schedule. Let's say you fall asleep at 9 p.m. due to this shift. Your body may complete its full cycle of rest by 3 a.m., leading you to wake up feeling surprisingly refreshed but confused. Charles, a 68-year-old man who recently retired, found himself nodding off during TV shows and waking up long before dawn. Once he realized his sleep schedule had shifted due to this internal clock reset, he adjusted his evening habits. He pushed back dinner slightly, added an extra hour of reading time in bright light, and made occasional evening phone calls to loved ones. These subtle but effective changes helped him extend his evening just enough to shift his natural wake time closer to morning, leading to less disruption and a better sense of control. It's not about resisting the changes in your rhythm. It's about understanding them, respecting them, and gently shaping them to support your lifestyle. Many people feel guilt or shame when their bodies don't behave as they once did. But this shift in timing is not a flaw. It's part of the evolution of your internal system, and when approached with grace, it can be managed without frustration. Physical discomfort or underlying health concerns are also major reasons for early wakefulness. As we age, the body is more prone to chronic conditions that may not seem severe during the day, but become more noticeable during long periods of inactivity, such as when you're asleep. Arthritis, for example, can cause joint pain to slowly build as you lie in one position, eventually rousing you from sleep. A full bladder may become a nightly interruption as bladder elasticity decreases with age. Muscle cramps, acid reflux, and even subtle changes in body temperature can act as small but powerful triggers that nudge you into consciousness in the early hours of the morning. Eleanor, a 76-year-old woman, spent nearly a year wondering why she woke up at 3:30 a.m. nearly every night. She didn't feel worried or afraid, just aware and uncomfortable. After speaking with her doctor, she discovered that her blood pressure medication was increasing nighttime urination and dehydration, both of which contributed to her disrupted sleep. By adjusting the timing of her medicine and increasing her fluid intake earlier in the day, she significantly reduced her nighttime wake-ups. The key takeaway here is that your body is still communicating with you, just in subtler ways. These early wake-ups aren't a sign of failure, they're signs of function. They show that your body is still alert, still processing, still adapting. Listening to those messages and making small changes, like adjusting meal timing, reviewing medications with your doctor, or even investing in more comfortable bedding, can help reduce the frequency of wake-ups and restore a sense of calm and continuity to your sleep. Lifestyle changes also play a major role in why older adults find themselves awake at 3 a.m. Retirement. Fewer social engagements and quieter days can all contribute to a subtle shift in your body's sleep-wake rhythm. When your days are less structured and you begin winding down earlier, your brain may interpret these cues as signs that it's bedtime. Over time, this leads to earlier and earlier sleep onset, which inevitably leads to earlier wake-ups. Take Walter, a recently retired 74-year-old. With no job to rush to and fewer evening commitments, he began eating dinner at 5 p.m., relaxing in front of the TV, and heading to bed by 8:30 p.m. Before he knew it, his internal clock had shifted so much that he was regularly waking up at 3 a.m., fully alert. It wasn't insomnia. It was just that his sleep cycle had moved up. When Walter began introducing gentle changes, like an afternoon walk, reading under bright light in the evening, and pushing dinner back by an hour, he slowly adjusted his routine, and his sleep improved. He realized that his body hadn't betrayed him. It had simply followed the cues it was given. Similarly, older adults who reduce physical activity during the day might not build up the same level of fatigue, leading to lighter sleep. Or if caffeine is consumed in the early afternoon, its effects may linger longer than they did years ago due to changes in metabolism, contributing to more fragmented rest. Even skipping a light bedtime snack can cause blood sugar to drop during the night, which might rouse you from sleep without you realizing the cause. The beauty of lifestyle is that it's malleable. By taking stock of your habits, you can reshape your environment and daily routine to support deeper, more consistent rest. Finally, perhaps the most powerful and deeply human reason why many older adults wake up around 3 a.m. has to do with the emotional and psychological layers that surface in the quiet of the night. As life slows down and external responsibilities decrease, the mind often turns inward. During the day, it's easy to keep busy, to distract yourself with television, chores, family calls, or small pleasures. But at night, when everything is quiet and still, your thoughts may become more reflective. You might begin to revisit memories, regrets, or longings you haven't had time to process before. This kind of emotional restlessness is subtle but strong. It might not come in the form of overwhelming anxiety. It may feel more like a quiet unease, a soft whisper asking questions your heart hasn't answered yet. Gloria, an 80-year-old widow, often wakes up in the early morning hours and finds herself thinking of her late husband. During the day, she's active, connected, and content. But at night, her mind drifts to the moments they shared, the words unspoken, the future they once planned. It's not grief in the dramatic sense. It's tenderness. It's reflection. To support herself, Gloria began keeping a small journal beside her bed. When she wakes up, she sometimes writes a few lines, not a full diary, just a thought or memory. She also listens to soft music before bed and occasionally writes letters to friends. These gentle acts give her feelings an outlet and help calm her mind. The truth is, the heart doesn't follow a sleep schedule. It remembers what it wants to remember, and often does this remembering in the still hours of the morning. These wake-ups can be moments of meaning rather than disruption. They can be seen as invitations, not just interruptions. Invitations to listen inward, to acknowledge what still matters to you, to give voice to the wisdom and experiences you've lived. That emotional insight, once honored, can lead to more peace, not just during the night, but throughout the day as well. So if you've ever wondered why you wake up at 3 a.m., know that you are not alone. It's not just a random habit or a sign of something wrong. It's often a result of powerful natural changes in your body, your rhythm, your health, your lifestyle, and your heart. By understanding these reasons, from changes in melatonin and circadian rhythms to health signals, routines, and emotional processing, you gain the ability to respond with wisdom and kindness. You stop blaming yourself. You begin to work with your body rather than fighting against it. And in doing so, you give yourself the grace you truly deserve at this stage of life. Sleep is not just a biological need. It's a reflection of your whole self, your past, your habits, your choices, your emotions. The more you honor it, the more it will honor you in return. If this resonates with you, take a moment to reflect. Consider what part of your nightly routine might be inviting early wakefulness. Is your room too bright? Are your days too quiet? Is your mind holding on to unspoken feelings? With awareness, you can create a nighttime environment that supports you physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Whether that means dimming the lights, shifting your evening habits, exploring your medications with a doctor, or simply allowing your mind to process its feelings in the quiet dark. Each step brings you closer to the rest you seek. You are not broken. You are becoming. Aging is not a decline. It's a deepening, a ripening of your wisdom, and even your sleep is part of that journey. So the next time you wake up at 3 a.m., instead of frustration, try greeting yourself with compassion. Listen in. Breathe deeply. You might just find that what wakes you isn't your body's weakness, but it's wisdom. And that wisdom, once embraced, can guide you toward more restful nights and gentler mornings ahead.